In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your personalized notes or textbook using OneNote, and this is how it's going to look like, where you're going to be able to create something like this, where you're going to start from creating units to chapters, and from chapters to sections in a chapter, in order for students or you to not only have an organized take on your work, but also others to be able to retrieve the information and analyze and access, and to be able to be successful in the content that you've created digitally. Step 1 is to create a notebook, and to create a notebook, all we have to do is go down here to hit on add notebook, and once you click on this, we're going to create the name of our notebook. In this case, the name of our notebook will be called Organic Chemistry Lab. And once you do that, once you click on create notebook, you'll be able to create that notebook. However, if you want to cancel, you can click on this. However, because we want to create a notebook, all we have to do is just click on this and you are good to go. And this here can be found when you go back to your notebooks. You can see it right here, and once you click on this, you have your new sections that are going to be created on this particular column. Remember that the new column here, which is for adding sections, is dedicated to units that you want to establish. And in this case, our units we're going to create is, we're going to either change the name or we leave it as the same name. In this case, because we want to change the name of this, we have to do is right click and then rename the section, and you should be able to pick any name that you think might be important for that particular unit. In this case here, we're going to call this experiment 1. And once you're done with typing the name of this unit, all you do is hit enter and you're good to go. Remember, to add more sections, all you have to do is just still click on this add section icon, and you can add a new unit and you can title it experiment 2 and so on. Remember that you have to hit enter and you're good to go. Remember also that as you see the highlight in the unit, that signifies that you are working on that specific unit. If I click on this, it means that I am in experiment 1. If I click on this, I'm in experiment 2. So because of this video, we're going to look at experiment 1 and we're going to build on that by adding pages. In this case, adding pages symbolizes that you're creating chapters, and so to create a chapter, all we have to do is click on this particular untitled page, and on top of the date and the time you created this, you can then type the name of that particular unit of focus, or specifically the chapter element. And so experiment 1, in this case, we're going to express this as the following. And so that is it for this particular chapter page. And this chapter page, we can do a couple of things. You can, in the body of this particular page or content, you can talk about like specific things that students should expect in this particular page. And so all you can do is click on any bullet point form that you want to create, or if you don't want a bullet form, all you do is just highlight the whole perimeter and press delete, and by that way you can just type as you go. Now in here, we're going to look at a couple of things. One is we're going to highlight the purpose of this particular experiment. You're also going to highlight any references that you think might be important, and also you're going to highlight keywords. And these are a couple of sections that can be derived from this chapter, and this will be important when it comes to building on this particular experiment 1. And in here, all you have to do is just highlight everything, and this gives you options as to how to change the size or the color of the font and so on. In this case, for the size, since it is not explicitly shown here, all you have to do is click on this and you can change the size of your font, and you can go as high as, let's say, 48, and this is actually really huge and wide, which is awesome. But that way it's clearer for you and clearer for everyone. So in here you can type the purpose of this particular experiment. In here you can just highlight a couple of things, or you can do it in bullet point as you want. So click on bullet point and you can type, and in here you can list a couple of references. You can drag this to the specific length that you want, and that's pretty cool. Now the next one here is looking at differentiate the purpose, the reference, and keywords by changing this to either an underlined form. And to do that, all you have to do is click on this U and you're good to go. The same thing applies to reference. Underline that, and keywords, you can underline that right here. And another thing here to keep in mind is what are the sections that you can create. To do this, all we have to do is go to add page, and you should be able to create a new page that is called untitled page, and we can now build on what we have by doing the following. First, we need to determine what we are going to address our first particular page, and this first page under the introduction page is going to be titled, in this case, part A. And this can be important as well, because you can go here and talk about the two parts briefly, where we can say part A is going to be focusing on, and for part B we are going to look at. And so this is really nice to be able to have this highlighted under the purpose before you actually dive in detail when you are creating sections in here. And so we can just go in here, copy and paste it right here, and you're good to go. No matter how you copy and paste it, the format under the title remains the same, so you don't have to worry about reformatting it and also like that. And the next one here is going to be titled part B, which is going to be focusing on carotenoids and chlorophyll. And once you copy, Control C, we go here and we Control V. Now to break this down, what we can do is go to a specific page of your choice, and we can make this by going right clicking and then going down to make a sub page. Click on that, and now it's a sub page. We can do the same thing over here, make it a sub page, and we click on that and we are good to go. Therefore you're creating sections within a chapter, but that way it's really fun and easy to explore and follow as you move along and as other people are engaging with the material. Now the next thing you can actually add is a couple of things, like for example, if you're adding a new page, you see that it's going to be under the main page. And so if you want to make this to be your main page, all you have to do is go back to this particular part which shows you the arrow pointing to the left, and we can now make this to be your main page. That is how it functions in terms of promoting a sub page to a main page, and this is pretty cool to see. In here you can actually add other things, like for example, and finally a couple of questions that should be answered in your specific OneNote. And by so doing, you're not only able to create a sub page, which are sections which are here, but also you're creating a chapter, and from the chapter creating unit, and from unit you're creating a book. When we compare the display of OneNote going from Windows 10 to Windows 11, we're on Windows 11, and this is what we see on Windows 11, where on the top here we have our units that are expressed. And if you want to add a new unit, all you do is click the plus sign and you can add experiment 3 in there, and once you hit enter, you're good to go. And in here what we see for experiment 1 is this is what we created on Windows 10 OneNote. We see all the chapters that are present right here and the sections that accompanies them. And what we notice is that when we look at the format, it does translate really well from Windows 10 to Windows 11. No really complications at all in terms of the translation processes or transfer process, and all the chapters and the sections are properly set right here on the right side of your screen, compared to Windows 10, which was indeed on the left side of your screen. In terms of adding pages, all you just have to do is you just hit on the plus sign and voila, you have your untitled page. We can call this, for example, review, and once you're done, you hit enter and you're good. Otherwise, you don't need to press enter. And if you want to change this to, let's see, if you want to make this a sub section, or you want to create this to be a section, all you have to do is just make as subsection or sub page. And once you have that, that is what we get for our Windows 11 setting for OneNote. So there's not that complications at all. This is pretty straightforward and really nice to play around, and hopefully this should be indeed, and it is indeed, translatable to your Windows 10 OneNote. I hope you found this really informative in terms of building the fundamental concept of OneNote and how it is utilized. You can actually play around more with a couple of ways of inserting things, like for example inserting pictures, online videos that you might find on the internet into the body here. You can also draw things that you think, or jot down things in written form that you think might be important, and also you can change the view after you're done, enough for you to not only take in the information but also put in some creativity around the background. Like for example, if you want to draw a graph, you can actually use the format grid, or if you want to write things in line to bring back that line paper format, you can actually use these particular features right here. You can also delete notes as you want, and to delete notes you can just click on delete, and you can delete the whole note. But hey, I don't want to delete anything at all, so don't delete, and that should be good to go. All the same, I hope you found this really informative. Let me hear your thoughts about this in the comment section down below, but that way I can talk to you all soon. Stay smart as always and believe in yourselves.